But is it legal? I need to know if it's legal. If it's legal, we'll do it. But if it's not legal, we're not going to touch it. Hear me clearly, we will not go there if it's not legal. Have you ever heard anyone say something like that? I certainly have on a number of occasions. Working in corporate America for more than 3 decades gave me ample opportunity to come across situations where important decisions had to be made about how to proceed on something. I was fortunate to work for people who were honest people and simply weren't prepared to go down any path where something might not be fully legal. There was a standard, and that standard was not to be violated. I hear the same standard used within my Christian relationships, fellow Christians who simply will not compromise on their adherence to what is legal. Our gut reaction is probably that that's a good thing, that is the appropriate standard for a Christian to take. After all, Romans 13:1 says, "Let every person be subject to the governing authorities. For there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God." So there it is in the Bible. Legality established by the governing authorities is the appropriate standard, apparently. I want to challenge that today. If you want to grow in your Christian maturity, is that really the right standard? Let's talk about a couple of examples. These are real-life situations that I'm personally familiar with. I won't use names, but the situations are factual. First example, a man in a church was a contractor, remodeling homes, making repairs, kitchen makeovers, etc. Did a job for one of the church leaders in his congregation. That leader hit some financial snags about the time the work was completed. So the contractor just waited a while before he pursued getting paid. When he did, the church leader that the work had been done for informed him that he would not be paying him. He indicated that the law stated that if someone waits too long to bill you, then you don't have to pay the bill. So the contractor hopefully would learn his lesson. Example number 2. Middle-aged person, long-time member of the church, family history of church involvement, decides to undertake some entrepreneurial activities to supplement the family income. When this person describes the business undertaking they're pursuing, it usually resulted in some raised eyebrows, indicative of some concern about the type of business activity. To which the person would respond, "Well, you need to understand that that is perfectly legal where we live. Lots of people are getting into that business." I don't know what your reaction is to either one of these examples. Real life situations, I'll remind you, not some artificial made-up story. Maybe you agree with one, but not the other. Maybe you think they're both wrong. Maybe you think they're both fine. Either way, the point is that both of these situations are examples of Christians using what is legal as their standard, their parameter of right and wrong as established by what is legal. In both of these examples, and I could rattle off a bunch more, these Christians are using the world's legal standard as their personal standard as to what is acceptable. So, let's make a little list, shall we? Let's list out a few more things that by this standard would be acceptable for Christians to do. Things that are perfectly legal. Adultery is legal. Pornography is legal. Divorce, no-fault divorce, I just don't want to be married anymore, is legal. Cursing, swearing, disrespecting God by using His name profanely is legal. Telling raunchy jokes about Jesus is legal. Telling sexist, derogatory jokes is legal. Having sex with people of the same sex is legal. Telling jokes in mockery of Christians is legal. Shall we go on? I hope you get the point. But let's open our Bibles and let God's Word also speak to this. Acts 5:29 says, Peter and the other apostles said, "We must obey God rather than men." And I'm thinking that if that's good advice for Peter and the other apostles, it's good advice for us. 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God." That seems pretty inclusive. Whatever you do. One more. 1 Peter 1:15 says, "But as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct." Again, pretty inclusive. All your conduct. Be holy as God is holy in all your conduct. So there's our standard. Be holy as God is holy. Obey God rather than men. Do all things to the glory of God. There's our standard. So let's be very clear about this. Just because something is legal does not mean it glorifies God. As a matter of fact, there are many things that are perfectly legal that do exactly the opposite of that. They bring dishonor and disrespect to God. Nor does something being legal mean we're acting as holy. It's time that we as Christians stop lowering the standard that God has established for us. Our mission as Christians is not to meet an earthly, worldly standard. Our mission as Christians is to let God's light shine in this world by being holy as He is holy and thereby glorifying Him. The Bible states it very clearly in Romans 12:2. "Don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Don't be conformed to this world. If we want to grow as Christians, we have to set the right standard for ourselves. It seems that every time I turn around these days, I hear Christians using the world's legal standard as their definition of right and wrong. That's not good enough. It's not biblical. Something being licit, lawful, legal is not good enough. We need to stop deceiving ourselves into thinking that it is. So what is your standard? Have you set the right standard? I hope you have. But if not, I hope you'll consider these words and recalibrate. Christian growth depends on setting the right standard and then doing what we can to live up to that standard. With God's help and with the help of one another, we can be more than we can even imagine. But all that starts by setting the right standard, by aiming at the correct target. Don't let the world's definition of licit, legal, or lawful be your standard. Don't deceive yourself in this way. I'll leave it there for you to think about. We've got 2 more videos in this 5G series, 2 topics that I've intentionally held to the end. I look forward to sharing those with you. Thanks for listening. See you in the next video.